We're going live right now. Hello and welcome. My name is Remark, and we will be continuing our quest to make America great again, or more specifically, to really restore our actual sovereignty over what was the United States before we had a little bit of a internal dispute over politics. So we are continuing our Kaiserreich game as the United States. Fun fact, within 24 hours between the first one to this, the game has been updated. No idea what exactly happened, but something about the El Condor seems mildly important. No idea if that's going to affect us, but... So we're going to hit single player, load game, and we're going to be loading our Iron Man United States game. That's right, when I'm making mistakes, and there are many, many remarkable mistakes. Goodness. Oh, and the world has definitely changed. So started in 1936, and now it is 1940. We're really looking, that was probably about a 3-year civil war. I'm actually really curious if it was potentially possible to just spawn kill either the North or the South, because we threw cavalry divisions into California and had pretty good success. But the other thing is that if we can field 7 cavalry units plus our own infantry units, could we by chance rush the CSA? Like, we put infantry divisions in New England, well, what is now upstate New England, and rush for the cities on the coast while throwing cavalry divisions at Chicago and Detroit. Maybe get an early capitulation and then just throw everything at the good old South. I'm actually thinking that might be an interesting strategy to try, but I don't have time for that. What we do have to have time for is restoring the United States. Quentin Roosevelt cannot let this stand. So continuing as the United States, and unfortunately we cannot get achievements for this. So what we're really looking at is Hawaii, which seems to be independent, Mexico, which seems to be not aligned, but due to having a coup attempt, Mexico is just a paternal autocrat rather than communist, which is weird. And then there's New England, which is actually held by the Entente. So we are fresh from the victory over the syndicalist forces. Glory be. Glory be. So let us take these in turn. We are producing mechanized equipment. Yes. And this is actually, we did go down the Blitzkrieg doctrine. That doctrine specifically allowed us to get additional manpower without having to spend political points, which we never really seemed to have for most of that campaign. Which I think that was the right decision, knowing that it was gonna be a, well, pretty decent draw. Now during the later half, during that last year of the conflict, we managed to kind of seize Wisconsin, Illinois, and and Missouri. We held that line, we waited, got some tank divisions up, and actually then started really trying to creating pockets, breaking first the Unionist, and then ultimately then switching to the Syndicalists in that order. But that's different now. So let's see here. So we are going to eventually have mechanized units, and that's really driven that we may have 1 million in manpower now, but I don't want to be in that position when we go after our larger foes in restoring our good old United States. So let's see here. We are still heavily weak on our tank production, and we do have a pretty decent stockpile for that. So I think we will continue throwing more factories than we should. Alright, so that's probably all that we should spend on that. Throw that down here. We will want to reinvent our units. I think now is probably the best of time as any to prepare. Really, yeah, that's what we're going to have to go with. So what essentially now is the war's over. We're not immediately going to go into a conflict. But now's the time, I think, to really reform this army. Unless we're about to start anything immediately. But before we do that, so oh hey, we can compromise with Reed, which gives us a factory output of 10%. That's not bad, especially for a 42-day focus. Still have the military ones open. So these give us factories, but I don't think that's critical for us right now. So what we're going to be looking at is the Monroe Doctrine on that side, or reconstructing the United States. Repair speed, military to civilian, okay. Monthly population plus 5%. I mean, it's not as bad. Not particularly thrilled about these kind of, having to potentially go through those, like full out 70-day ones. Factory output plus 7. If we're not actually going to go to war, and I think that's the choice, is do we push immediately to start reclaiming some of our stuff, or do we kind of like lean back a little bit and be like, alright, let's pump the brakes here? Because if this is 70 days, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My God, that's near 2.5 years of going through that. Reclaiming the Southwest. Reclaiming the coast. Interesting. I guess spend it to get political power. Ooh, we could just get Alaska like that. So we could potentially get some things for free, and I always love getting things for free. What would Roosevelt do? I think Roosevelt would just say, fuck it. We need to get our shit back. Alright. In the meantime...
Yes, sir. Listen up.
Panama Canal Garrison? 2, 3. And let's do that twice. The United Provinces of Central America have offered to reduce restrictions to our trade. Do they exist? I appear to have lost some things. Or my stability. Oh, I can no longer see stability. Interesting. Good old free trade. We cannot theorize, gentlemen. These are some people for medium tanks. Good old Colt. This gives us good modifiers. This almost seems kind of like a... Ooh. Oh goodness, looks like we have a little bit of bugging out here. So... no? I would really like not to have to fight that war again. Don't get me wrong, I think it would be hilarious. Looks like we're getting some very similar events here. Start looking outward, rebuilding the naval capacity. Something tells me that is going to take a while. Oh wow, that event definitely Good old Russia's putting the clamp down on the socialists. There is conflict here. I just can't see it worth a damn. Interesting. So Germany seemed to have bitten off a tad more they can chew. But Russia is on their side. The Union, yeah, the Union of Britain is fully engaged in this fight. Peru declares war on Ecuador. Why? You know what? You know what? We're going to do a little pause. We're going to reload this game and pray to the Kaiserreich modding team that this is all just a big misunderstanding. I mean, that would be a real shame, because it did update, I will say. There were some hot, active wars going on, and let's see here. At a time, oh, here we go. Single player. We will continue where we left off and hope, without hope, that we are not all lost. So what had happened here was that Brazil was fighting somebody, and then that kind of just failed. What had happened here, there was an active civil war going on, but so losing these areas is bad, but I think we'll just keep on going for a little bit. The real nations that are getting cucked over are, well, China. Ooh. Before the crisis, work on the dam had begun. And now we are going to complete the dam. Now, if the Germans could consolidate their position behind this river, they could actually dig in pretty well. Although from Vietnam onward, they haven't been doing too well. Well, so much for the diplomacy deal. So the Germans have been pushed back, but looks like they have some pretty decent interior lines. And under the assumption that their allies come and help, I have to imagine that they would stand a pretty decent chance against a divided commune. Looks like there's fighting all along that front. Looks like the commune might actually have a decent chance of pushing south first, winning in Iberia, and then turning their attention on the Kaiser. Meanwhile, we're just sitting over here. Increase speed to ludicrous speed. Are we missing? We're missing rubber. Well, that's disturbing. It would appear trading has been disabled. Well, hate to say it, folks, but it would seem that our save has been utterly corrupted.
Ready to move. Listen up.
That event somehow triggered again? Wow. International trade is just broken. It's kind of pointless, isn't it? Good for you. Well, these battle lines look eerily familiar. Question is that if Italy or the Italian Civil War here might prove the Achilles heel for the French, at least in part. Gotta go with good old Boeing. Germans have put a what the fuck? I'm fairly sure slavery is not a thing, right? Or is that like a real event? Oh, that is disturbing. Oh. Oh, the glitchiness is real. I think it's really only after a morbid sense of curiosity that I continue. Throw some artillery onto our units here. I feel as though if we were going for like the long haul game, I might dismiss all the militia units, send them back to the pool, and reform them as better units. But I think at this point, in this little bit of a broken save, I think let's just get to it, folks. Would explain why. Mechanized? Where's mechanized? There we are. You got jack nothing for mechanized. Yeah, our only hope would be. Ooh. After the success of the Democratic government in the United States, Canada was more than willing to return Alaska. Thank you. You got one, folks. Let us hope that we do not have to use this. Always gotta be a Ford guy.
Ready, sir.
With the Civil War at the end, it's time for the presidential elections of 1940 to begin. Quentin Roosevelt has been president of the United States since Curtis died. Quentin Roosevelt has steered the country through the Civil War. John Gardner has come out of the shadows to try and win the election for the Democrats. However, he is clearly the underdog. I think we gotta go with good old Quentin. What is Quentin now? Progressive wing of the Republican Party, Social Democrats. Not confusing to anyone. Well, perhaps not in this day and age. Oh, right. The actual show. We got communists advancing through Iberia. They seem to have broken out of the mountains and are doing some cross-country running. Hot action all across the German front, people dying left and right, and Italy seems to be holding its own.
Listen up. Ready. Orders. Move out.
Oh, these aren't going to get cheaper? Oh, this one might help. At least I can pretend the Alaskan class is being christened for our return of good old Alaska up there. Now we're going to get an outdated piece of equipment in the queue for a little while. That's fine. Yemen. There's stuff. Oh, there is stuff happening down there. What are the Ottomans up to? Unknown. Have fun with that. Well, this doesn't really make any sense anymore. League of American States. Warplan Gold. The International are a threat to American democracy. They were responsible for the CSA's actions during the political crisis. And it's time to make sure that we snuff out their evilness. But enough of that. We don't really have the Navy to force project, so therefore we can't really do anything. Extended conscription. Excellent. It's a little mute at this point. Hurrah! 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 I love this. You're not doing anything but good old Sardinia here. They're putting up a fight. they're gonna do it.
Fall in. Move out. Attention.
Mm. Mexican government has refused to follow our demands, insisting that the occupied western and southwestern United States are rightful territory. We must attack them now. That's it. We ready the troops. All forces,
Attention.
prepare to attack.
Move out.
Hurrah.
Keep moving.
Sure. Looks like we're not doing so hot.
Ready to move. Right. Attention. Keep on attacking.
So because we don't really have
Orders.
Plus whenever I get paid for the bonus after that.
a pop this war still going on? Oddly looks like a stalemate. Looks like this is Socialist Republic of Italy. I know that. I want to know who's occupying the damn thing. French Republic. French Republic has made landfall. Good.
Go, go, go! Ready. Call in. Call in.
Let's ask Mexico how's that fleet look turning out for them.
Let's go! Pushing them back, sir! Keep on moving! Move out!
Nope, we need rubber. Consumer goods? Huh. Does this affect consumer goods? Oh. Jesus. Wow. Not sure what to make of that. How many factories does Mexico have? 6. No, because you need positive factories to do anything, apparently.
Yes, sir. Orders. Ready to move. Move out. Pushing them back, sir. Aye, sir.
It's actually Great Depression, consumer good factories. Huh.
All in. Ready. Ready. Attention. Yes, sir. Keep moving. Move out. Orders. Listen up. Ready to move. Yes, sir. Ready to move. Advance. Yes, sir. Move out.
Oh, let's see here. It's actually kind of a weird trade-off, though. I don't think there's that many factories in Spain as opposed to the number of factories that could be in the Italian parts that their Comintern is losing. And then you have who? Oh, this is a Russia thing, isn't it? Russian AI causing the world to collapse.
Orders. Listen up. Advance. Ready.
Come on, boys. Maybe it just should have tried railroading them. That may have worked. Or just approach Mexico from the other side. That's a lot of attrition overall. Westover, Grumman, Rickenbacker. Oh, looks like Poland went socialist. Oh, nah. Nah. Damn commies are everywhere. That is kind of nice, though, to know at least, while the map may be glitched, I just straight up don't have factories to spare. This one.
All in. Move out. Move out. Attention.
Meanwhile, in other parts of not America, as far as the French Republic can do in this game, that is pretty decent-ish. Ooh, a battlefield. A naval battle has happened. Wait, what? Sunk by the USS Colorado. Oh, that's damage. Oh, damn, that was lopsided. We won, boys! We won!
Orders.
It's kind of weird, man. Keep the junta. All leading to the Papal University. Oh, that's funny. There's no one there.
Ready to move.
Okay, someone's going to take it. Mexico City, the oldest city in North America and the fifth largest by population, fell today to the invading American forces who, encircling the city, then moved into the lake bed from the west, cutting off major transportation arteries and forcing the Mexican defenders to bleed off into the foothills to the east. As of today, the general in charge of the American occupation has entered the... Oh, come now. They are joining our more perfect union, sir.
Listen up.
Oh, a fate of Mexico. If we don't select, bad stuff happens. Liberate Mexico under a friendly government, or continue with the military occupation. After a long campaign across Mexico, we finally managed to shatter Mexican defenses. We must now decide the future of Mexico. Yeah, we'll keep it. Oh, whoa. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, New England's next, boys. No getting around that. Ba, 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 ba. Lucian Triscott. Really wish we got the good old other generals. He'll do though.
Orders.
Actually, out of supply.
Commands.
Sounds like a good Marine commander to me. That's a field marshal. He seems good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What do I think is more effective? No, destroyers should be good against that sort of nonsense. Might as well pick that up now. Carrier fighters. Are we actually able to produce something? No. Did get some factories from it though. Damn. We are not enemies, but friends. Full integration. Establish provisional state governments of loyal citizens. Hooray! Alright, friends.
Attention.
I don't think these numbers are working. combat and war wait on. Will it end? Can't even see fighting here. I don't recall the last time I saw fighting on this side. Russia's fighting Mongolia and Central Asia. Germany is grinding through Poland. Oh, that Italian front is new. That should take a lot of pressure off of the French. Free French. Still have a while for that. This has to be an interesting game. Like, for a multiplayer sense, I think it would be a little more reasonable. But in a single player sense, it seems like the Italy is dependent on jumping on, well, not starting their own war and jumping on the commune in this kind of situation. Goodness. Yeah, so they went all the way down to here, got some decent buffs out of it. But I mean, there's still no, like... Yeah, they have to go through these areas to actually reunite the stuff. Yeah, so they need... Huh. Yeah, so their whole thing is about fighting this battle. Seems like a lot of countries have it where, like, at least in Italy, and maybe even the Ottomans, it's like, they're not, like, there's a lot of early events aimed at this, like, early war here. Like, basically 1937 through 1940, maybe 2. But it seems like a lot of countries are actually kind of set up to do things later on, like in 1942 to 1943, being in a more consolidating and still going through critical focuses, which kind of seems interesting. But on the other hand, it's like you almost can more or less tell who's gonna win at that point. Because, I mean, hell, I have... Until I can get rid of this Great Depression nonsense, that's... all my factories are being consumed by consumer goods. I'm gonna feel so terrible if this ends up in conflict. That's fine. Restore our own house. We don't have the Navy to really project troops across the sea anyhow. Do this, and then we can finally take a good hard look at Hawaii. And we might just call it for a session because of the whole... Well, I guess we could continue, depending on if any other real bugs are found other than just the map being destroyed. So, I mean, Mexico rejected the offer, but the Commonwealth did give me back Alaska for free. Oh, why am I looking over here? Goodness. Got more interesting things to look at. Can you see banners gleaming? Another go at squeezing the Polish socialist state. Kind of impressed that they went that route. Re-approaching Albania, the syndicalist menace. Hey, we got a Bulgarian problem here. So these two seem to actually give you the chance to do something. This one is more like the safe, hey, let's not do anything drastic here. Integration of Hungary, at least. Hey, that's something. Still their king. Kingdom of Hungary becomes the puppet of the Austrian Empire. What is Hungary now? Is a puppet. After a bitter war, the United States has triumphed over its enemies. The state of New England that broke away from the United States has now been added back to the Union. Welcome back, sir. . I was totally gonna do that peacefully anyways. Don't know what you're talking about. It's gonna be peaceful, mostly. Damn, I just can't do anything without getting rid of this Great Depression. Fate of the Philippines. Now that would take me in conflict with a certain Japan, and I don't have the ships for that.
Call in. Ready to move.
Oh. And all 100 and well, how the hell? I'm using more consumer factories now than I did before the whole damn thing.
Ready to move. Ready, set. Commands.
So this will allow me to actually invade with more than 10 units, which might be useful. I mean, unless you get over with the Civil War in like a year and immediately start going down the other thing, and I mean, I do admit I did take my dear sweet time winning it, but oh well. It would seem. Nah, not Guam. Not Guam. What are my other Fate of the Philippines? Philippines gets an American proposal. Good, 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 good. Alright, enough of this. Yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da, da, da. Amazing. Alright, are you ready to go? Yeah, my plan B, which every Marine should have, is not yet prepared. Is this it? I know we know little about this region. Can we just not project that far? We may be utterly and completely screwed. Wow. Friendly greetings. While we were dealing with the Syndicalists, so were the Hawaiians dealing with the Syndicalists. What? Thankfully, just like in America, they destroyed the Syndicalists. Oh. Well, before they go away... So they had a choice between a republic, monarchy, and revolution. That way, that way. Oh, and they were... Oh! That, somebody was getting a little too comfy with not America. Oh, so I don't actually... Friendly greetings. Huh. That's a shame. I wanted to... I mean... I just... Fine. Most likely, should this game continue, there's going to be a certain war with a certain somebody over certain everything in the Pacific. But I don't have the Navy for that. Arthur, you can stay pointed that way. Well, we did it. Survived one thing. The world broke a little bit, but that's to be expected. Survived one little crazy shenanigan and reunited most of the United States. And yeah, we have an ongoing conflict in Europe that we can intervene and come in at the last second. We can, well, really need to go down this track, which is going to take way too freaking long. Yeah. So what we'll probably do is get ahead of ourselves, take a side in this whole little thing, and cause some havoc. Anyways, I've been Remark. Thank you all for watching, and in the meantime, have a great